What's up, everyone? This is Basil, the White Dragon Masters. I'm so excited for this review. It's been so long since I did the UFC review. My review today is on UFC 193, Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holmes. I'm so excited about this one because I mean, you'll know why. As all you know, the White Dragons show, whenever I talk about the UFC post-fight reviews and analysis, it's always the last three fights. Whole thing's overwhelming. Anyway, so last three fights, and last three fights that I'm going to talk about was Mark Hunt versus Bigfoot Silva, Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Lodurno, which was Valerie Lodurno, and of course Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holmes. Let's start from the smallest one, third one up. Hunt versus Bigfoot Silva. I already knew the results. There was no, I mean, it was a very predictable fight. Ended up pretty quickly. It was, I mean, Mark Hunt, greatest kickboxer, one of the greatest kickboxers to have ever come in MMA. It's a no-brainer. I mean, he's from the 90s era of, Crow Cop and K1 and all that stuff. I've been following that career since that time. So it was a no-brainer that I knew that he was gonna win. And I knew that it was gonna be via knockout, because when a heavyweight hits, it's gonna happen. And a heavyweight kickboxer hits you, you're gonna go down. The funny thing about this fight was that when he punched Bigfoot, he didn't even catch him clean. I mean, it wasn't even like a clean shot. It wasn't a clean shot to the face. It wasn't a clean hook. It was kind of like a touch shot where he hit him sort of on the side of the ear. I mean, it wasn't even a shot. And Bigfoot went down. I think he should personally retire, in my opinion. I think Bigfoot should retire. He's done. And he doesn't have the capacity to take shots like that. Mark Hunt, being 41, it's amazing. Him and people like Dan Henderson, they're still fighting. Considering Dan Henderson just lost, which I think he should retire now too. But that was awesome. Mark Hunt, congratulations. I already knew the results. Pretty much knockout. Let's go on to the co-main event. Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Valerie Lodurno. I have to say that Joanna, I didn't know her, to be honest with you. Strawweight, I really didn't. It wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't really give a shit as much as I do now, because I realized that there's this Polish girl that people keep talking about called Joanna Jędrzejczyk that keeps winning, and she's a champion of the UFC, and for some reason, I guess she flew under the radar with me, and I didn't realize who she was. I knew who Rose Namajunas was, but for some reason I didn't know who Joanna Jędrzejczyk was, which is pretty weird. But I saw her fight. I saw her fight Valerie. And I don't think Valerie Lodurno, who's this French-Canadian girl, I don't think she was even on the same level as Joanna. It was a 5-round fight. It went on the entire time till the 5th round. But you can tell clearly, like, the level, the kickboxing level was like night and day. It was a tough fight. I mean, Joanna got tagged a few times, but her moves were so... They were so crispy versus the other girl when they were just a little sluggish. Even the kicks were just sluggish. They weren't crisp. So I guess, when you do martial arts all your life, you can tell the difference between somebody who's naturally gifted with athleticism or naturally gifted in certain type of, techniques, whether you're a grappler or a striker. So Joanna and her, when you put them side by side and you notice these guys hitting, you can clearly tell that this is a superior striker or a superior martial artist versus Valerie. So it went on for 5 rounds, and obviously Joanna got tagged a few times, but she practically picked her apart. Now, let's talk about the main event. The major reason of UFC 193, what I was here for. I won't lie. I practically, which is, again, let's go back. It's Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holmes for the 135 Women's Championship. I, in my mind, just believed, and I was saying this all week, that Ronda Rousey was going to walk through Holly Holmes like a knife through butter. For some reason, I saw that. Just because of what I saw with Betch Correia, who was also undefeated, and Cat Zingano. I mean, that Cat Zingano fight was the one that actually made me feel like, oh, not a big deal. And I thought that, Ronda was going to walk through Holly. That's exactly what I thought, and my prediction was that it was going to be over in 30 seconds. With my martial art experience, fighting experience, I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute. This is a no-brainer for Ronda Rousey. She's going to do exactly what she does. She's not going to stand up and bang with Holly Holmes. She's going to go straight in, and she's going to go for the clinch, go for the uchimata, which we call in judo the hip toss, and then armbar her. And she tried. to my surprise, Holly Holmes she played the perfect fight. It was unbelievable. She's a great boxer. And now I have to say she's a great kickboxer because she picked Ronda Rousey apart from the very beginning of the fight till the end. You know, Ronda was coming in and Holly, you know, had a great strategy of countering. She's a southpaw, so her strength is the left side. And so when Ronda kept coming in, right, because what is Ronda's goal? She doesn't want to stand with somebody like Holly. Somebody's boxing level like Holly, that would be stupid, right? She wants to clinch and take her down. Every time she came for the clinch and she threw her jabs out, Holly would counter with her cross. Hit Ronda a few times on the face, and then she did this, obviously this kung fu technique that we have in JKD, which is, it's very famous, made by Master Bruce Lee. It's something that people are doing a lot in MMA now, which is either this kick, side kick to the knees. John Jones liked to do that a lot, but what most people do is the side kick this way. So what it does is it hyperextends the knee. It happened to Ronda, and I saw her expression on her face. You know, for some bizarre reason, when Ronda came all up on Holly's face at weigh-ins and started screaming out of nowhere, it was very bizarre and abnormal. It showed a little insecurity, but I didn't predict it to go the way it did. So, you know, coming back to round one, Holly put Ronda apart. I mean, Ronda was not even on the same level as far as boxing is concerned with her. I mean, she made Ronda Rousey look like an amateur boxer. That's because that's how good maybe Holly Holmes is. And there was something that happened in round one where Ronda tried to chase Holly and she slipped and she turned. I've never seen something like this in MMA. I mean, you got to see this fight. You can order it on UFC.com or pay-per-view, but it was something that I've never seen in any MMA fight. And so she slipped, and the weirdest thing happened. I believe this was in round one, where somehow Ronda got the clinch, and she was trying to set her up for an armbar. That didn't work. She came up again, and Holly took Ronda down. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but it was a weird clinch where I thought Ronda was going to just toss Holly upside down and she was going to fall, but that surprisingly didn't happen. She had the underhooks, and she took her down. That was the first time I've ever seen Ronda Rousey getting taken down. So that's a huge accomplishment for somebody like Holly Holm, especially coming from a kickboxing background or boxing background. That was amazing to see. It's priceless when you see people do that. And when she was on the ground, you know, the bell rang. She got right back up. Holly Holmes fought a perfect fight. I mean, you cannot be any more perfect than this. And then the second round comes. Same shit. Kept tagging Ronda in the face. Boom. The whole time. And then, while obviously Ronda was so wobbly with these hard shots that she got to the jaw that she was a little bit wiggly. And while she got hit and she fell on the ground, lost her balance, while she was coming up, Holly does this is very famous in karate. People do this technique a lot. They grab the gi sometimes, and they do that in Thai boxing too. They'll grab the arm and they'll just go pow, you know. And so this is what happened. While the clinch, she broke from the clinch, while Ronda was getting up, Holly just grabbed her just for leverage. And as soon as Ronda turned to face the opponent, you know, Holly sets up, pow! It kicks her right in the face. Ronda goes limp, straight to the ground, knocked out cold, busted lip, and then Holly goes with a hammer fist 1, 2, and 3. It was a priceless thing to see. It really is when you see people like Anderson Silva, you know, and hopefully somebody like John Jones who would lose like this as well. Of course, you don't see you don't feel happy that somebody is in pain. Obviously, that would be very, very sadistic to be. But what makes you happy is when you see all that arrogance and all that built up, I am the queen of the world, I'm the king of the world, shattered. Because, you know, God just makes you feel like, no, I can, you know, make you a champion, you could lose too. You're not invincible. Nobody's invincible. That's one thing that I kept telling everybody about Anderson Silva as well. I mean, he got his ass handed to him by Chris Weidman twice. Nobody's invincible, and neither is John Jones. So, at the end of the day, guys, UFC 193, amazing card. I had a great time watching it, and congratulations to Holly Holmes. Sorry, Ronda. Hope you come back stronger. And I know you're going to get a rematch. But I think it's important for somebody like Ronda Rousey to grow from this. I think it was important for her to lose, for sort of get her feet on the floor and sort of humble herself down a little bit. Not, you know, when somebody's putting up your gloves, you're not, you know, tagging, somebody's shaking your hand like Nisha Tate did at the end of the fight, and you're not shaking their hand. That's it's very unmartialist. That's a very non-martial artist thing to do. It shows no dough. She's a great fighter. Ronda's still a great fighter, but I think this was necessary for her to sort of come back on earth. So congratulations to Holly Holmes, UFC 193. I cannot wait for December 12th, UFC 194. My boy Conor McGregor is going to take on Jose Aldo. I can't wait for that. That's happening halfway through the year ends, and that'll be great. That'll be a great thing too if Conor wins. That'll be like 2 champions changed this year, at least from what I can remember. So anyway, guys, UFC 193, Basil the White Dragon Masters out. Hey-ah!